everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Hope17 and this is the new video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my part-time experience at the convenience store called 7-Eleven in Korea. I'm going to tell you everything from how I found this job, what was it like working there, and my personal experience of this side quest that I decided to do for whatever reason, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. Okay, so if it's your first time being on my channel, welcome. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm an international student studying in Korea at Women's University, and the reason why I wanted to work at 7-Eleven is because I needed some money. It was the first job that hired me, and in general, I was just interested to learn what it was like. If you are a university student in Korea and you are on a student visa, you probably already know that there are requirements you need to meet in order to get a work permit from the immigration office in your school, right? So I don't know about any other university, but I'm going to tell you about Women's University, which is my university. But I feel like the requirements are pretty similar across any university in Korea, right? So if you are an undergraduate student and you are on a student visa, like D2 visa, you have to obtain permission from the immigration office prior to starting a part-time job. The following, however, do not require permission, like teaching assistantship at the university you are enrolled in and work-study jobs on campus. So you first must have a GPA of 2.1 in the previous semester, which I feel like is pretty easy to meet, like that's a very low GPA. And if you're an undergraduate student and you completed year 1 or year 2 in your program, like you are a freshman student or you are like a sophomore student, if you don't have a topic certificate, you can only work 10 hours a week legally. But if you have a topic certificate level 3 or above, you can work 30 hours a week. Now, if you are already in your 3rd year or 4th year, the requirements are the same. Just you have to find a job, sign a contract. So you have to get hired first. Then you have to fill out the part-time work confirmation form, have that part-time work confirmation form signed by your employer. Then you have to visit the international office at IHWA to submit all the documents. And you have to then make the reservation at the immigration office in person or apply online to obtain permission from the immigration office to start working. Now, the whole process sounds really complicated, to be honest, not gonna lie. I know that a lot of international students who are not on a scholarship, for example, are really interested in part-timing in Korea and what they can do in order to like get any money on a regular basis in order to just survive, the day-to-day life. And the majority of works the students do here, especially international students, are like working in restaurants, cafes, working convenience stores, like cleaning, like a cleaning stuff in hotels, motels, like Airbnbs, working at bars and clubs. Like there's a lot of different part-time jobs, and I feel like it's pretty similar to any other country. The thing is that you just have to meet certain requirements and obtain the permission from the immigration office. And at the beginning of this year, I just needed a simple part-time job in order to have like a regular stream of money to like day-to-day life, for like living expenses. Specifically, I wanted something very, very simple so I can solely focus on my studies and on my YouTube channel. I also had this thought, this requirement in my head, that I needed a part-time job that could only work on the weekends, so like Saturdays, Sundays. In my mind, I thought by separating the week into, okay, on the weekdays I'm going to school and I'm studying, on the weekends I'm going to my part-time job and working. In my head, that separation between two things was very important. I feel like it's really hard when you have to study in the morning and then you have to work in the evening, which I feel like is more common with college students, but because people just generally want to like rest on the weekends, right? But for me, I really wanted that distinction, and in the grand scheme of things, that probably wasn't a good idea because it was really hard to not have a single day off. My schedule was packed to the point where every day I had to be outside of the house, and for an introvert, that's quite a lot to be asked for. Thinking back on it, I was like, maybe that was not like a really good decision. Also because a lot of events for international students who are always happening on the weekends, because that's like the time where everyone is free usually, and a lot of other events are also happening on the weekends, and all my friends are free on the weekends, my family members free on the weekends. Now that I'm thinking about it, is like, yeah, that was probably not a good idea to work on the weekends and to study on weekdays and not have a single day off, but you know, it was a good experience nonetheless. By the way, I'm filming this video when I'm not working at the convenience store anymore, so that's why I'm speaking past tense. But you know, also if you do like any projects, like group projects, group assignments, group presentations, and you have to like schedule a meeting with your teammates, with your classmates, everybody are always free on the weekends, and I was always busy on the weekends because I had to work, so that was also hard. So like, maybe keep that in mind. You know, where did I start looking for part-time jobs? The most popular websites in Korea for part-time jobs is Albamon and Albacheongguk. Just prefer Albacheongguk because I already have an account there, and usually the listings are all the same on different websites, because the employers usually just post their listing in every website that is popular. So these two websites are specifically for part-time jobs in Korea, which Alba means part-time job, right? I know that a lot of international students also look for part-time jobs on like Craigslist, which I also looked there myself, and it's all in English, which is a plus if you don't speak Korean. But I've never actually found a job on Craigslist, or I've never actually applied through Craigslist, you know, but it feels more like casual, I would say. But on Albacheongguk and Albamon, those are like a most well-known official websites where everything is like in Korean, and if you don't speak Korean, if you don't know Korean, or if you don't have like a good level of Korean, those websites can be so overwhelming to navigate. And trust me, I feel that, because Korean websites, they love to make their websites so like 답답해. Like they have so many things on one website page. Like this is like the worst hell for a minimalist. Like I love when things are very simple and you have like two buttons to press, right? And you don't have to think too much and to try and find like what you have to press. Korean websites, my least favorite thing probably to have in Korea, because there's just so many things on one page and there's always something popping up, and I hate them. I really hate them to my core. But because I'm also used to those websites, I like can look past them. But if you click on it for the first time, you're probably gonna get bombarded with so many things and you're like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. Trust me, I've been there before. What you have to do is create an account, which is pretty straightforward, right? And just start looking for jobs. Again, if you're an international student, which you probably are, just click on this button which says 외국인, and that just gonna show you all the jobs that the employers can and will willingly hire foreigners. We'll just choose Seoul if you're living in Seoul, choose different city if you're living in a different city. You can choose like the time where you want to work, but honestly, I would advise against choosing that, because some employers, they don't even list the time or the days of the week where you work. They just say like, oh, we can like decide that on the spot. So those can be filtered out if you press like Saturday and Sunday. That will limit your options, the options where you can negotiate with the employers, right? So usually just keep your options open. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When I first started searching for jobs, there weren't a lot of jobs on the 외국인 section, right? Of course, because people are just generally are not open to hire foreigners, especially like Korean cafes, Korean convenience stores, Korean stores, right? Maybe like you will have more luck in restaurants who are specialized in like a different culture, right? Where the owners are foreigners themselves. They will be more open to hiring you. But when it comes to actually Korean establishments, they will be more hesitant to hire you. Couldn't find a job that would interest me in the foreigner section, so I just started to look for in an overall section, and that is my advice to you as well. Find anything in foreigner section, just click out of it and start applying to jobs that are not in the foreigner section, because chances are they might hire you, because that's what happened to me. I found this listing that 7-Eleven near me was searching for a part-timer to work on the weekends, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to apply for it. Before that, I applied for some cafe part-times like Mega Coffee, and I didn't hear anything from them, which I read some reviews that cafe part-time employers usually prefer hiring someone who already has experience in the industry, right? Somebody who already worked at a similar like cafe franchise and knows how to make the drinks, just like knows the structure. And they generally are like don't like to hire newcomers. Didn't hear anything from that part-time job that I applied in a coffee shop, but I immediately heard back from the 7-Eleven that I applied to, and I scheduled an interview. When it comes to my interview, I brought the simple resume that I filled out on the Alba Chongguk website, and when you fill in the resume in Alba Chongguk website, you can actually print it out, like the most simple resume ever. Usually I had my picture in it, I had like my ID picture in it, which some employers say, oh, please don't like attach your picture because that can influence our decision. But usually it's a really good thing to attach your picture because people just like want to see how you look like, you know. I had my printed resume from Alba Chongguk website. I also had copies of every documentation like my ID card, my passport, my bank book from my bank, which if I would hire on the spot, the employer would need that in order to transfer the salary to my bank book. And I also had my topic certificate printed out. I had a topic certificate with topic level 3, and that's pretty much the only things that I brought. Things to keep in mind when going to an interview are pretty simple, I feel like. Part-time jobs, so don't overthinking. Just be on time, be a little bit early, dress respectfully, be respectful. That's like the only thing that you can think of. Be prepared, have all the documentations ready, have the resume ready, just be polite, be pleasant. Also, I read some reviews from other part-timers that if you try to get a job at the convenience store, the one thing that employers will look out for is for you to be punctual, because it's a shift job, right? You're coming on a shift to relieve the person before you, and punctuality is like the key. You can't be late. That's kind of like a red flag. So you have to be presentable, just like be polite, be respectful. That's the only thing that you need to look out for. Also, I talked with my employer a little bit. He was a very nice man. I had a really nice boss at my 7-Eleven, and he also asked, have I ever worked at the 7-Eleven before or any other convenience stores before? And I said no, but I said that I worked at logistics. Kind of like, I feel like that can help me a little bit to get the job, because he was like, oh, you worked at the logistics center, right, where you have to pick up produce in order to be shipped out? And I was like, yep, that's what I did. He was like, okay. I feel like that was like a little bit of a plus in my coming my way. So I had that. He also asked why I decided to apply for a convenience store position. Like, did I heard from my friends, or like did I heard on the internet? And I was like, oh, just, like, yeah, I was just looking for a part-time job and this fit my schedule, so that's why I applied. So he was like, okay. He also said that he had some other people that he would interview later in the day, so he would let me know if I got the job by either today on the day of the interview or the next day. And he also said, like, if you don't hear anything from us, just know that the job probably went to somebody else. Like, this is pretty common in Korea, that you don't hear back from the employers if they don't want you for the job. They will not send you like a letter like, oh, I'm sorry, we decided to pursue somebody else. Like, they don't send that. If you don't hear anything from them, just move on, But I pretty much heard back from them on the day of the interview. So I had the interview in like the afternoon, and the evening of that day they were like, okay, if you're still interested in the position, we will hire you. So I was like, cool. My work schedule was Saturday and Sunday. The first 2 days of the week that I worked were training days, where I was with other part-timers and I was with my manager, which I only had 2 training days, 2 like Saturday, Sunday, and after that I would have to start working by myself. So every part-timer were alone. I feel like those 2 days I had to learn how to do a lot of things, but they weren't that difficult. Everything that I was told how to do, I pretty much like remembered all of it. The only thing, I was quite nervous how to operate the point of sale machine and how to navigate the entire system, but when it comes to part-time jobs, convenience store part-time job is definitely on the easier side. That's what I hear a lot of people say, and I feel like that's kind of true, because you don't have to learn a lot of things. And if you don't have a lot of customers in your store. You're pretty much like have a lot of like leisure time, and opposed to like working at a cafe where there's actively you're making drinks, you're cooking, you're serving customers. Like there's a lot of things you have to do. Now that I talked to you about the little bit of the process of getting a part-time job, let's talk about the pros and cons, right? Positive sides of working at the 7-Eleven or just in convenience stores in Korea are, like I've said, it's easier than other part-time jobs. Now, I've never worked at a cafe in Korea, but I can imagine it's a very stressful environment, especially if you're working somewhere in Seoul where there's constantly a lot of people. You're not just making drinks, you're not just making coffee. Right now, all the like popular chains in Korea like Mega Coffee, Pektaban, Uji, like I don't know, a lot of chains are incorporating more and more food menu, like food items in their menu in order to have more competition. Now there's like, you know, this trend that is in Korea right now, like everything in cups, like cup binsu or cup tteokbokki or even cup naengmyeon. Like those, from a customer's perspective, those are really exciting because you're paying half the price and you're getting like binsu in a cup or like a actual meal like naengmyeon in a cup. That was very exciting for me as a consumer, as a customer, but as an like employee at the cafe shop, I would probably like go crazy trying to make everything in the menu, making drinks and then making food as well. And they don't even have that much higher pay than those working like in the convenience store. The pay is pretty much like the same, like minimum wage job. I don't know, I feel like it's just much more stressful at all. So when you compare all the part-time jobs there are for students, convenience stores are definitely like much easier in terms of like labor you have to do, you know. Now the second positive side working at a convenience store is it's very good for introverts because you work alone. That can be different from one convenience store to another convenience store, but if you're working in a very like simple medium-sized convenience store, you're probably working alone. I only ever saw several employees in a very big convenience stores and like department stores. One department store, like in one 7-Eleven, I saw like 4 employees. I don't know why there were that many. Maybe they were like training people. I don't know, maybe that was that. But usually it's just like one person, which I really enjoyed. Like no co-workers, no managers, like the boss never comes around, especially if you work on a weekend. So you're basically just alone, like nobody, you don't have to like as I read in reviews, you don't have to like nunchi everything, like you don't have to be aware of like the presence of the boss or whatever. Like you're all alone by yourself, which I feel like for introverts is very good. If you don't have many clients on a very like quiet days, you actually have time to study, which I did that a lot during midterm season or final season. If I didn't have a lot of customers, I usually just flip out my book or flip back my iPad and like do assignments and study. So that's a big plus for university students. And I think another positive sides about working in the convenience store, like I said, that it's not too labor intensive. I feel like it's pretty chill, it's very relaxed, I would say. So usually what you have to do in a convenience store, it differs from one convenience store to another, and it also differs on your schedule, right? I worked on the weekends, and usually I will get, as soon as I come into work, I will get shipment of products, and I have to like do the logistic stuff. Like I have to check on the checklist if everything came correctly. I also have to like put it how do I say it in English? I don't know. Like I have to roll out every product from the boxes that it came in, to shuffle it into its respectful places in the store, to restock the shelves, check the expiration dates on like the sandwiches and kimbaps and lunch boxes, manage the store in general. So I wouldn't say you have to like lift heavy things or be on your feet the entirety of the time. Usually like it's pretty chill, so it's not too labor intensive. That's like the biggest plus, I feel like. Oh, let's talk about the negative sides, okay? As I've said, working alone can be a plus when you're an introvert, and then as a plus, I enjoyed working alone all the time, but it can also serve as a negative because when you're alone, first of all, you're kind of like, customers treat you like the owner of the store, even though I'm just a part-timer, right? They will ask you everything. where is that product located? Do you have this in this size? Do you have this cold? Do you have this like packaged? When will the shipment will come? How can I do this? How can I do that? Like, they will ask you anything, and if you're just a part-timer and you don't know something, you will have a really stressful time trying to decipher how to do that thing. Well, if there are difficult customers, you have to deal with them alone, like there's nobody else. And if you're working on a very busy days, again, you're the only one who have to deal with all of them. And I worked with customers before, and I usually work with a team of my other teammates, right, my other co-workers, and usually if there's a difficult customer, we would help each other out. Like, somebody would deal with them, or if I can deal with the customer and my coworker cannot deal with them, I can go and help. But when you're working alone, nobody can help you. You're there by yourself. Like, that's the biggest negative. And also, if you want to go to the bathroom, you have to like time it out. If there's no customers, you have to like lock the doors and go quickly to the bathroom and then go back. And usually when you go back, there are already customers like waiting for you to open the door as if you've been out for like an hour. Another negative, I would say, is that there are a lot of things you have to learn. I wouldn't say it's that big of a negative, but that's another thing to keep in mind, right? Most people think of a part-time job as like, oh, you're just a cashier, you just stand there, like check the stuff, check the produce, like check the items for the customer, and that's pretty much it, right? That's not all you have to do in the convenience stores. Nowadays, convenience stores also want to compete with other convenience stores with each other, so they start to implement a lot of things to attract customers to their particular convenience store, right? There's not a single thing that you cannot do with the convenience stores nowadays. So first is the basic thing, right? You scan items, you take payments, right? That's like the easiest thing in my opinion. Cigarettes. Now, I feel like if you are trying to find a job at the convenience store, that can be like some level of anxiety trying to learn all the cigarette names. As someone who doesn't smoke and as someone who doesn't know a lot about cigarettes, that was like the biggest thing for me. I was like looking at the stand behind the cashier and looking at the amount of different types of cigarettes there are. I was like, how am I going to learn all of that? But honestly, it's pretty easy to learn by doing it. I feel like by day 5 of working at the convenience store, I already knew where most of the cigarettes were located. But trying to learn at the beginning was pretty stressful because usually Koreans, they don't tell you the full name brand of the cigarette. They will just tell you the abbreviation or what the cigarette is known by now, and you have to like deduct the rest, you know what I mean? And they expect you to know that. They were like, if I tell you like the shortened version of the name of the cigarette, you have to know that. Now that I've been working at the convenience store for quite some time, I do know those short names. But if you're just starting and you're thinking that they will tell you the entirety of the name, like, oh, I want Marlboro cigarettes, red package, you're wrong. Some people would do that. Some very kind people would do that. Most won't. At the beginning, when I only started working, I didn't know like which cigarettes they were talking about. I would usually like ask them, like, can you show me like which cigarette are you talking about? Some would be like, most of the people are very like gracious. They're like point where the cigarettes are located, and that's how I would remember. But some would be very like sassy with me. They're like, you don't know? Like, how am I supposed to, like, you know? You have to deal with that as well. A lot of convenience stores now sell food, and usually it's really like processed freeze food that they fry. And in our convenience store, it was like hot dogs, chicken, like chicken skewers. And first you have to cook them. If they ran out, you have to displace them, and you also have to sell them. So it's not burdensome, but sometimes it can be quite burdensome. But it was fine at the end. But yeah, there are usually coffee machines at the convenience stores where you can get really cheap coffee, and usually it's just very like quick Americano, like hot Americano or iced Americano. You have to clean the machine regularly after people use it. You have to like empty the that paper, like the filter, and empty the coffee beans, and also empty the like residue water that comes with it. I don't know. So you have to do that. In most convenience stores, they sell lotto tickets, which Koreans really love to buy, but we don't have that at our convenience store. We have sports bets lotto, which that was the first time that I heard about this thing that actually like put bets on sports that they're watching, which very reminiscent of Squid Game. If you know. That's the thing that I hated the most about my part-time job, is those men, because 100% of the time it was always men buying these sports bets and placing bets on sports, right? That were like probably the most annoying part of my job as a cashier, is processing these bets, because they would always have to cash it out with me as a cashier. And also if they win some bets, they can also come into the store and they're like, hey, I won some, can you like give me the money, just dealing with them was always the most annoying part, because they're so entitled and they always so like in a rush, and they always like I have so many annoying and awful stories dealing with those men who always come in to place like awful god amount of money on those sports bets. Other things are very simple, like clean the store, because people are messy and they don't like to clean after themselves. Like wipe the tables, wipe like a little area where they microwave things. That was pretty easy, but also very annoying, because that had me questioning my faith in humanity, because how can you leave the mess after yourself, because the trash bin is right there, like so close to you. You can just reach out and throw away your trash, but no, they won't do that, because people are people. Next thing that you have to do is check the expiration dates on all the foods. They're usually timetables, right? If it comes to like kimbaps, sandwiches, burgers, like instant burgers, or like luncheons, usually the expiration dates go as follows, like 10 a.m, 3 p.m, 11 p.m. That's like the usual ones, and you have to check on those around those times and clean out the shelves from the products that are expired. So that's another thing you have to do. Restock the shelves if they run empty, especially with like ramens and snacks. If you see that the shelf is empty, you have to go back, pick up the items and restock the shelves, like constantly, I would say. So you have to manage the postal office job. If you didn't know, you can send packages through convenience stores, which is very, very convenient for customers, very, very inconvenient for employees. There's a little like station when people can come in and drop their packages off, but still I have to oversee that, and I have to like check it through the monitor, and sometimes it's a big headache, because some people would do it incorrectly, some people would need my help, and I have to go and help them every single time. So that's another thing you have to keep in mind. There's also postal services in convenience stores, and usually in convenience stores they have ATMs, so if people are having troubles with that, they will also ask me for help, like, oh, I can't withdraw money, what am I gonna do now, like, oh, what's this problem? So I also have to work like as a bank assistant. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it's kind of a lot. You're kind of asking a lot, and I hear a lot of the times that people really praise Korea because everything is so convenient and everything is for the people. That is until you start working in these types of jobs, as like in a service job, and you realize how suffocating it is to actually work those jobs, because people will have a lot of things going on and you have to do so many things, and for a minimum wage, like, that's a pain in the ass, truthfully. Also, another thing that is very rare but is getting more frequent as I keep working is you also get delivery orders at your store. Now, did you know that you can get delivery from the convenience store? Usually people just like order some things and they would click pickup option, so like you prepare their order and they come in and pick it up. Sometimes they get it actually delivery, but I've never seen them actually delivery. Usually it's just a pickup option. But I also hate those because I will get a notification about the pickup option, like an online order, right? And if it's something quite simple, if it's just like one product and they want several things of it, like for example, we have this very popular pudding, which is a Japanese pudding, and gets sold out so quickly because people love it so much. So if I get an order for like 4 of those puddings, it's pretty easy because you just go in and grab them quickly, right, when you have time. But if it's like a very intricate order where people are just lazy to come in and do the shopping themselves, and they just like, they want these types of chips and these types of beer and they want this and that, I have to go in and manually search everything and put it in a basket in order to get this order for them. And if I have this order and I also have a lot of customers coming in all the time as a cashier, I physically don't have the time to actually accept the order and actually go in and pick all those items by myself, because when you work on the weekend, customers actually come in like every other second. I rarely have time when there's not a single customer in the store. It usually depends on where your store is located, right? But because my store was located in a very busy area, I always had customers. And me by myself, I physically cannot do cashier and also try and pick up online orders for other people. So that was very stressful and annoying for me. So if you're ever lazy to go into convenience stores and try and order it online, and if it's something very big, like you actually like start shopping like it's coupang, please don't do that. Please don't do that, because most of the time it's just one worker there and they're overworked and they don't have time to accept your order and go in and pick everything for you. Okay, so please don't do that. Okay. And of course, the biggest negative side of it all is dealing with difficult customers. I feel like that's a very universal thing. Difficult customers exist in every place on earth, in every culture, in every city, in every country, and in every job where you have to actively deal with people. Now, I would say those are rare, but not that rare. Like, I will get a difficult customer every workday. Usually it's just one. Sometimes it's 2 and 3 if I'm lucky. I usually hate drunk people when drunk people come in the store, and my convenience store was located in an area where there was a lot of people and there was a lot of drunk people because there were a lot of bars and clubs. Okay, I generally just hate drunk people in general, especially when they're customers. Okay, and disrupting people, and sometimes I get dangerous people in the store. That can also happen. And usually just dealing with them gets so tiring because they're just entitled and they don't care how they influence other people. And I feel like if you're the type of person who doesn't really care when things like that happen, I feel like you'll probably be fine. Like if you have thick skin dealing with people, you'll probably be fine. Convenience store job probably be like a very easy job for you. I'm the type of person who's very sensitive, especially when it comes to other people, and I just hate when people are disrupting, or when people are entitled, or when people are just annoying in general, especially if I'm being nothing but nice to them. It just makes me lose faith in humanity. And it just makes me feel a little sad and feel depressed by the end of the day, and it just sucks the energy out of me. And I just realized that I don't like working with people. Do I regret working there? No, I learned a lot of things, actually, surprisingly. Like, I learned so many things behind the scenes, and I learned so many like perks, and now I'm going to be shopping very differently at convenience stores because I know how it works, right? And I know how to shop more cheaply and all that. I also learned some things about people as usual. I don't regret working at the convenience store. I feel like I satisfied this like childhood urge to know what it was like to work at the convenience store in Korea. I feel like if you're a student in Korea, it's a very good part-time job for you to have. Like, if you want like a steady amount monthly income for your like daily expenses, I feel like working in the convenience store is pretty good option for international students in Korea, and even for Korean students as well. I just realized that there's no a single perfect part-time job out there, because they're part-time jobs for a reason. But I did it for the plot. Now I know a lot of things that I didn't know before, and maybe next time when I'm looking for a part-time job, I'm look for something different. And I also film a video on that because I feel like that can be very useful for a lot of people out there. When I was searching like YouTube videos on experience working at a part-time job, I find a lot of videos from Koreans, and I learned a lot. Like, if you are starting a part-time job at the convenience store and you're like stressful and anxious person is like me, and you want to know everything beforehand, just Google like 편의점 알바 on like YouTube, and there's so many videos on how to operate a point of sale machine, how to learn all the cigarette names and brands. There's a lot of angel people on YouTube who actually film videos, and they're so like detailed. And I think there's also an official like 7-Eleven account on YouTube where you can go in and see how to do certain things. Like, I don't know how to say it in English because it's all in Korean. Yeah, they're not in English, they're in Korean. But if you want to work in the convenience store, you do need to know Korean, at least to some extent. And I heard a lot of people say like, oh, you don't need a lot of knowledge in Korean if you want to work at the convenience store, which I feel like it's a lie, because you still have to know a lot, because there's so many things, various things to do, and customers always will ask you for so many things. God, as if you know everything, but you're just a part-timer who only works there like 2 times a week. Like, I don't know anything, please. Also, have you seen that nowadays convenience stores in Korea also put this like smoothie machine? I've seen that they already had those in Japanese convenience stores, but now they have those in Korean convenience stores. Again, from a customer's point of view, I love that. I can't wait to go in and try smoothie from that smoothie machine in the convenience stores. But if I still were an employee at the 7-Eleven and they installed that smoothie machine in my store, I would probably quit on the spot, because I was like, another thing that I have to manage. Also, when I got in my convenience store, they had this soft con ice cream machine, and I was like, oh, do I also have to do that? But thankfully my manager was like, oh, no, we don't do that anymore, because it was just like too busy. Like, it was a mess everywhere. And because you actively, like, if somebody orders that soft con ice cream, you have to go put the ice cream myself. So like, you know, like those machines that are in like McDonald's or like Lotteria, you know. And I was like, thank God we don't do that, because if they also had to do that as well, I'll probably quit the next day, because, you know, that was like too much to do. You don't know the amount of people who come into the store, see that ice cream machine, was like, oh, do we have soft cone ice cream? And I was like, no, we don't do that. And I was like, oh no, that's so sad. It is sad for the customers, it is not sad for the employees, you know. But again, I don't think that's pretty universal thing everywhere, is that the managers or CEOs of those franchises, of like cafe franchises, convenience store franchises, they have so many competitors, and they want to like put more service in their business, to the point where part-timers who actually work at those part-time jobs, they have to do so many things. It's like summer season in Korea. Watermelon juice is such a popular drink at all those cafe franchises, and myself, I always will enjoy buying a watermelon juice from like a 백다방. But I knew a lot of part-timers who work at those cafe chains pleading people to stop ordering those watermelon juices, because it's just so much work. They have to manually carve the watermelon and then make the juice, and it's just like so many things at once. So I can only imagine working at a cafe as a part-timer is even more exhausting, you know. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. If I can answer them. This was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find it helpful. If you did, please leave a like on this video. It helps my channel a lot, and it shows me that you're interested in the content that I'm making, and it makes me more motivated to film more videos for you. Also, if you're new to this channel, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel, so I also can see that people are actually liking this stuff, and I will continue doing this. So yes, I hope you like this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.